Oh, I bet they are. I bet they are because I mean it's an interesting case because again this is a case that is I don't know what the circumstances they're talking about it under, but it's a case that absolutely has some implications over our justice system and the administration of justice. So we have a guilty in our poll. So somebody jumped in there and took the 0% out. So we got one of five believe it's guilty. We're going to transfer the hung juries over to not guilty because if they believe it's hung jury, it means they can't decide. We have to assert reasonable doubt there. So we're 4-1 not guilty right now by my reading of the poll. If you're just coming in, make sure you vote in the poll. We want to try to get as good of a read on things as we can. And we have Jennifer Crumbley. We're getting one step closer. Well, Jolo, a just verdict is a verdict that is followed by the law. And in this case, the law, in my opinion, they failed to meet their burden. So, now, whether or not that is satisfying for people out here who are upset and believe she was an inadequate parent, there she is with that chapstick. My God. I noticed that in all of the videos. I mean, those parents were putting it on each other every 5 minutes. I don't know what their deal was with chapstick, but they have a absolute addiction to it. I mean, she was even at the defense table after months in jail. I wonder if they have it in the commissary there, because if they don't, my God, I don't know how she would survive. But I think a just verdict in this case is if there's reasonable doubt, and there is, and the evidence is weak, that's a just verdict. I mean, it might not be, she will be held accountable in other ways, but the issue here is there was not a law on the books to deal with this particular situation. And they attempted to apply a law that already existed in a creative way to try to charge her. Now the father, like I said, it's a different situation, but they're really, when you look at this entirety of this case, there was no evidence that she ever had any responsibility or knew that the gun wasn't secured. It was 3 days before that she was at the range. And her knowledge was her husband took the gun out of the car, so that eliminates the whole gun issue of that gun being out and not secured. The sheet, again, from a reasonable perspective, was it reasonable to look at that sheet and think he was going to do a school shooting? No. They cherry-picked 2 incidences where there were cell phone messages. She gave an explanation for what they were talking about. That's further bolstered by the fact that there was nothing else discussed for 7 months. All of the discussions he had with his friend were done away from her. There was no evidence that she knew about them. The kid that he was talking to didn't feel inclined to tell his parents or tell her. So there's no evidence she had knowledge of how her son was feeling. And then the idea here, we put some arbitrary standard in to say, well, she should have been asking her son or she should have been inquiring of her son. Okay, what's the standard of that? And then on top of that, the state itself answers the question of reasonableness when they argued for life without parole by saying he was a criminal that was of such
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable
unusualness
presiding.
that he deserved to get life without parole. All right, here we go. Oh, no problem, Joel. Verdict time. Here we go. And I'll shut up while we get the verdict.
22-279-990 FH.
Good afternoon, Karen McDonald on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Mark East, on behalf of the people.
Good afternoon, I'm Shannon Smith on behalf of Jennifer Crumbley, who sits to my left.
All right, are you ready for the jury?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to ask when the jury reads their verdict. After that, I want everyone to remain seated. All right.
Judge, she wants to sit up. Stacy.
It's up to you. It's up to you. I really want the audience to stay seated after when the verdict's read and after that. And it's okay.
Maybe she's got word that it's going to be not guilty, because that would mean that maybe she's worried about how the audience will react. I hope they do. I hope they do, Jolo. I absolutely hope they do. But I think it's interesting that that judge is so worried, because if it's a guilty verdict, this audience isn't going to react. But if it's a not guilty verdict, they would. Let's see what's up.
Good afternoon, you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been informed that you have a verdict. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are you the correct person?
I am.
All right, here we go.
The verdict.
Individually?
Sure.
Okay. On count 1 of involuntary manslaughter as to Madison Baldwin, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. On count 2 of involuntary manslaughter in regards to Tate Muir, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Wow.
On count 3, as to involuntary manslaughter regarding Hannah St. Juliana, we
Okay.
find the defendant guilty of involuntary
Wow.
manslaughter. And in count 4 of involuntary manslaughter against Justin Schilling, we find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Wow.
Thank you for a woman. You can be
Wow,
seated.
wow, wow.
I'm going to ask Ms. Williams to hold the phone.
Well, man,
Jury in seat number 2.
Shocking.
Is that your verdict?
that is shocking.
Jury in seat number 3. Was that and is that your verdict? Yes. Jury in seat number
Man.
5. Was that and is that your verdict? Yes. Jury in seat number 6. Was that
Mm.
and is that your verdict? Yes. Jury in seat number 7. Was that and
That is a shocker right there.
Jury in seat number 8. Was that and is that your verdict?
Wow.
Jury in seat number 11. Was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury in seat number 12. Was
That's
that
a
and is
shock
that
right
your
there.
verdict?
Yes.
Jury in seat number 13. Was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury in seat number 14. Was that and is that your verdict?
Yes.
Jury in seat number 16. Was that and is that your verdict? Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that this is one of the hardest things you've ever done. I'm going to ask you to return to
Wow.
the jury room. The two remaining.
Oh, absolutely, there will be appeals. Absolutely, there will be appeals.
Thank you.
I mean,
All rise for the jury.
there's a whole slew of appealable issues, but that doesn't change the fact that, I mean, that's not what Jennifer Crumbley wanted, and it should have been a not guilty verdict today. I mean, it just should have been. I mean, I understand this jury ruled on an emotional basis. Clearly, we now know that question was aimed at the jurors back there that felt she shouldn't be convicted, and there was obviously some assertive jurors back there that were. I think
Thank you.
Jennifer Crumbley is in shock,
9 o'clock is fine, thank you.
and you can tell
Everyone remains
the defense attorney is in shock. I mean, this is a chilling verdict
All rise.
that the state got away with what they did in this case, as I have mentioned, and we talked about for the first 2 hours of this show today. 83% of our polls right now, only 6 people. But remember, law and crime today was
Come here.
Come here, will I?
and we're just watching the reactions in the courtroom, specifically the attorney there, Shannon Smith. Mm. Absolutely, they did not go with the evidence here. They had clearly, again, they had people back there that were, and those parents reaching across. I understand they lost kids. What they've done here now is unbelievable. And hey, I already have kids, but let me tell you, um, man, people are not going to want to have kids after this because this is chilling what they accomplished here, and people don't realize it. And we, for the first time ever, I mean, in my opinion, we can only hope on appeal. We can only hope. Hold on. I think my camera cut out again. Oh, no, there it is. Never mind. We can only hope that on appeal, this is rectified. That's it. That's what we can hope for right now. Sad, sad day there for many things. I know that wow. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But it is, I mean, that is the verdict they choose to come with. You got to respect the verdict. But there was a lot that happened in this case that's right for appeal. Um, you know, but that's what we're gonna have to deal with here. Wow. I mean, what a shocking verdict. What a truly shocking verdict. So, from my perspective, I just, wow. I, and having watched this trial and seen the evidence, I'm truly concerned because, I did not believe that the attorney was a bad attorney at all. Oh, the verdict sets a terrible precedent. Absolutely. This is horrific. This is terrible. This is people again don't fully understand the implications of what occurred here, but you had almost in a sense reverse jury nullification. Well, I don't know if you could call it reverse, but it was almost a jury nullification verdict for the fact that the state had no case, came in here, flooded the gate with all sorts of horrific videos, got in the minds of some people in there that clearly were like, I don't want to walk out of here. She's a bad parent. She had an affair, and they were judgmental of her and went ahead and said, yeah, but I mean, how the jury could have come to this verdict, believing that she should have reasonably foresaw a school shooting was going to occur with what happened here. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Well, yeah, I think that she might have checked the forms, or I'm sure the forms will get checked, but provided, unless there's a mistake on the forms, but maybe, maybe they, maybe it was not guilty, but I think that I didn't hear, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken in the sense that, yes, we will get well. Yep. You know, maybe they were, maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think I even heard the jury get polled either. I think Shannon Smith was in shock, and I think she's going to feel like, obviously with the intense criticism that came her way, I think she's going to feel like maybe she was a bit to blame here and how she presented her case, and perhaps, you go back and you look and you think, was that part of the problem? Was she an unlikable advocate? Because this case solely is about likability. It's not about evidence. It's about them flooding the box with imagery and hate for her, and then getting them to interpret things in that way. And wow, just absolutely shocking. But appreciate everybody that watched. But like I said, I'm not going to obviously keep the stream going now since we have a verdict, but a shocking verdict. I'll give more analysis on it. I'll come back. I've got to settle in and give some thoughts on this. Um, uh, but I guess we'll be back in March to watch. We'll definitely be watching James Crumbley's case, see how a jury sees his case, although I could see him plea bargaining now. But I would implore him not to, because I still think that, that a different jury could come to a different verdict on this. I am just stunned, speechless. Horrible day for our justice system today. That's what I believe, at least. And if you don't agree, that's fine. But I think anytime we have a jury come to a verdict that isn't supported by the evidence, but again, we have to respect the verdict at the end of the day, and that's fine because it's part of a process. So the beautiful part about this is this, and again, it's a tough day for the justice system, but it's actually also an opportunity too, because now we will see the appeal process, and this is a case that you're going to see why it's necessary to have every part of the process work, because the trial took place under the precedence of the pretrial rulings and the evidentiary rulings and the things that were allowed in. Now, appellate lawyers are going to be able to come in and review this, and it's going to absolutely be of the utmost importance that they do. And now we're going to get to see what will be, in my opinion, a very exciting appeal. I'll be watching. I hope they air the arguments when it undoubtedly makes it to the appellate court in a couple of years. I'll be interested to read the briefs, bring them to you, or read it together, because I think it's going to be flooded with tremendous legal issues. I'll be interesting to see if there's a due process challenge here of this case, because I believe there's a definite due process issue in the way they could attempt to construct the carve out of the law, and the issue being that it opened it up for too much vagueness. It was impossible for a jury or anyone to understand the standard, and when you put that before a jury, essentially it made it ripe and open for an emotional verdict, because otherwise, how else do you define how to get to guilty? And that's what happened in this case. So we'll be covering all of that. Next trial, I'm not certain. I've got to figure out what trial we're going to jump into next. The Draconis trial, I feel like we're 17 days into that. That would be one heck of a catch up. Might try to catch up on it. I've got some more things to report on for the Tyrone Tucker case, so that stay tuned for that. There's some information that's going to be coming out soon that I'm going to be putting out. I'm waiting for some things to come out before I put it out there in the street, in regards to things that are going on with it. So stay tuned for that. And of course, I'm always monitoring for different trials. I appreciate it, Yoga Gnome. Appreciate it. But like I said, we're going to see in this case here, it's upsetting today, but it's also why we have the appeal process. And I have full confidence that the system will work. And I do believe when the appellate lawyers get in and flesh this out and really look at the entire record of this case, it will not be over. And believe you me, this will be the type of case that will absolutely be heard by the state Supreme Court, might even go up to the United States Supreme Court with some of the issues that could be raised. So stay tuned. And of course, looking forward to the father's trial in March to see what a jury does with it in the set of facts that they present. That's only in a couple of weeks. So definitely we'll be doing that. Sarah Boone trial, I think, got delayed again. So I don't know. We'll figure out what that next trial is. But in the meantime, I'm going to just take in what we saw here today, and I'll be back maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. We'll do some post-trial, post-verdict analysis. But, man, disappointed. I'm disappointed, but I respect the jury's verdict, and I'm looking forward to the appellate process ahead for all the issues that I think are going to be able to be discovered. And I'm sure, I hope, that Shannon Smith is, not deflated but emboldened. And I'm sure maybe, I don't know if she does appeal work, but if she does, if she's willing, if she's planning to to handle the appeal in this case, hey, get that, get up, get that energy going and plow in, because there's a lot to get in and there's a lot to be argued. There's a lot to do here. The fight's not over. It's just, we got to move to the next process. But justice doesn't stop until all of it's done. And the good news is our process, when it works, and it does work, and I believe it will work in this case, it's going to get reversed. It's not going to stand. I don't believe it will, for a lot of the reasons. Rewatch this broadcast. We get into a lot of issues that are present right now. There's conflicts all over the place. There's issues all over the place. And I think an experienced appellate attorney is going to just tear this case apart. But it still doesn't feel great to watch that prosecuting team get this victory when you know the bad faith they showed throughout this case, the way they've misled the court, the way they showed up and argued, made what I will just use the word conflicting, because I don't want to use stronger, but they made conflicting arguments in 2 cases. Bothers me, really bothers me. That's just me. Anyways, I appreciate everybody watching. Until we talk again, let justice prevail. It will. Have confidence. It's a process. Let it work. But most importantly, while it works, we watch and make sure that our eyes are on it. And when we need to report on something, we are. So make your voice known, guys. And until we talk again, let justice prevail.